Witch hunt and much more. Joining me now, Sarah Carter, investigative reporter and Fox Business contributor. Sarah, wow, so much to go at. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thanksgiving Eve. Let's begin with the Clinton Foundation probe. What has Attorney John Huber been up to? Has it been almost close to a year now? Why has this thing been drug out and taken so long? Why can't we get to the bottom of it?
Well, I think that's a question that quite a few people have had for some time now, Ashley. One of the things that they're going to be looking at, and I think Congress is very, very adamant about, is what has Huber been doing? Has he been looking into the foundation, the financial aspects of the foundation? The donations to the foundation, whether or not people within the Hillary Clinton Foundation actually misspent those funds. I know that there are going to be witnesses more than likely testifying beyond Huber at this hearing, or at least we'll hear about them. This is very important because this is new information that surfaced after Huber was appointed. So this is not based on anything previous, but new information, and I think that's very significant right now.
And joining me now is Corey Lewandowski, Trump's 2016 campaign manager and co-author of the new book, Trump's Enemies, out next Tuesday. And Antoine Seawright, former senior advisor to the Hillary Clinton campaign in South Carolina and the CEO of Blueprint Strategy. Thank you both for being with me tonight.
Hello, Lisa.
So, Antoine, I want to start with you. Hi, Corey. I want to start with you, Antoine. If there's potentially new information here, it's Oversight Committee's job is to investigate. Why wouldn't they look into it?
Well, Lisa, this is a prime example of why the Republicans lost control of the Congress just a few weeks ago on Tuesday, November 6th. They have investigated themselves into the minority. Here we are, once again, wasting taxpayers' dollars on something that does not exist. They spent so much time focusing on Hillary Clinton that they have not spent time putting forth a policy agenda that will move this country forward, and the voters responded the way they did on Tuesday night.
Well, Cordy, what do you make of what Antoine just said? I mean, isn't it the Oversight Committee's job to conduct oversight?
Well, look, of course, Lisa, and if new information is available, Mark Meadows and the committee have an obligation to the American taxpayers and to the Constitution to do their job to investigate wherever that may lead. So let's be very clear. We all know that the Clinton Foundation was not on the up and up. My only disappointment was that the Congress has taken this long to continue the investigation, that it wasn't done for the Justice Department prior to now. There is no way that the individuals or those countries from overseas that gave tens of millions of dollars for access to the Clinton Foundation, either when she was the Secretary of State or after, were doing so out of the goodwill, because what you've seen now is that the Clinton Foundation is not receiving those types of donations anymore. So clearly it was a pay-to-play scam, and now there should be a much larger investigation to bring it to light, because the Clintons have always operated, it's one set of rules for everyone else and a different set of rules for them.
Corey,
that's the truth.
Corey, you just swallowed the biggest...
Antoine, hold on. I want to ask you that. I want to follow up on what Corey just said. If we've seen a drop-off in donations, if donations weren't meant to get access to Hillary Clinton, why the drop-off?
That just means perhaps people have moved on, and maybe the Clintons have moved on in courting those donors. Corey just swallowed the biggest pill of hypocrisy I've ever seen. Now, here we have the president and the Republican majority trying to strike fear in the American people about investigation after investigation if the Democrats take over the Congress. And now you're saying here tonight, Corey, that it's okay. The Congress has a responsibility to investigate. So which one is it? You can't have your cake and eat it too, my friend. We know that this is their last political straw by the Republicans to drive a wedge into the real issues in this country and separate Democrats from Republicans, and that's what this is all about.
Well,
it's not.
I'm pretty sure
Congress has an obligation to investigate, and they should investigate Clinton and Comey and McCabe and Jim Baker, who was the general counsel.
Hold on, Antoine. Wait your turn.
Let's go into the email system.
Let's do it.
Right?
Well, Antoine, hold on.
Ivanka Trump did not bleach bit 33,000 emails on a private server or have classified emails on her own server and say, whoops, I didn't know as a Secretary of State or as a former U.S. Senator that I can't store classified information on my own private server. She never did that.
Corey.
So let's go and investigate Hillary Clinton for putting out classified information onto Huma Abedin's server, of which her ex-husband had access to. The FBI knew about it and didn't prosecute any of them, but actually gave them leniency because they claimed they had attorney-client privilege between them all. Cheryl Mills, Huma Abedin, and Hillary Clinton. You should read the book. All the information's in there.
Antoine, does none of this concern you at all? I mean, you look at it, one of the things that we know the DOJ is looking into, potential pay to play. You look at things like the Associated Press reported about Clinton donors getting access to Hillary Clinton with meetings. You know that Bahrain Prince went to the Clinton Foundation to try to get access to Hillary Clinton when he couldn't get to her via the State Department. You look at things like the International Business Times reporting that arms sales increased to Clinton Foundation donors. How does none of this concern you?
Lisa, what you and Corey and I both know, all three of us know, is that if there was an inch of wrongdoing by the Clintons, it would have been headline front and center all the way through every news outlet you can imagine in this country. And the investigation would have been the top front and center of this network and every other right-wing network you can imagine. You and I both know that. There is no there, and I think we're going to find this out. And this is just the last straw by the Republicans who are going to make their way to the majority next year to try to raise an issue where there's no issue.
Well, Corey, we don't know that yet, do we? I mean, the DOJ is looking into this. We actually don't have those answers.
Trump's DOJ, Lisa, would have settled this by now.
Well, they're looking into it, Antoine. Corey?
We don't know what the bottom line is, but what we do know is that the Inspector General is still looking at the crooked members of the FBI, whether that's Comey or McCain, who was fired, or Page or Strzok. Look, that's a fact. The IG is looking into those people. The deputy director of the FBI has been referred to a criminal referral for lying under oath on 3 separate occasions. We know that they were part of the Clinton team, that Bruce Orr and Nellie Orr, who was his wife, was part of Fusion GPS. They're all tied to the Clinton cabal, and we're going to find out once and for all what they did to try and subvert the will of the American people, and if they were involved in any way, shape, or form in falsifying a FISA application to spy on American citizens. Because if Donald Trump wasn't elected, we wouldn't know anything about those things.
Corey,
Antoine, real quick.
Corey, bless your heart. You've done a good job of repeating the facts.
Antoine, you and bless your heart. I know this from you.
You've done a good job. Good job of repeating talking points, but you know, and I know that that's a different set of reality, and that's fact. That's fiction, not fact.
All right. Well, I
say happy Thanksgiving. It's a good fact.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving to you both. Thank you, gentlemen.
You want to run again?
No.
Wait.
No.
That was a pause.
Well, I'd like to be president.
Okay.
Well, she's tried before, and now there are rumors that she may make a third run's a charm. But what do actual voters think? In an exclusive for the Ingram Angle, Frank Luntz conducted a focus group of New Hampshire voters and asked them if they had the stomach for another Hillary run. Their answers, well, they were quite revealing. Here's the exclusive footage.
How many of you, by show of hands, and I want you to shoot them up, how many of you want Hillary Clinton to run for president in 2020? Go. Why not?
Been there, done that. Hillary's day is done. Hillary was the most qualified person that ever ran for president, but the least electable candidate that ever ran for president. And although she will always have those credentials, she is not well liked, and she's not popular enough to be able to get the voters to vote for her.
Yeah, just don't want the same old thing, you know? I mean...
The same old thing?
Yeah,
Isn't that kind of insulting?
Well, I don't mean old as she is old. I mean the same old thing, meaning we already had a Clinton in there. We don't need another Clinton in there. We need somebody that's going to change.
I think the Democrats really need to do some research and coming up with some other candidates. I mean, Hillary's name comes up a lot, and she's got the experience and so forth, but just as you were saying, you know, that's in the past. The Democrats really do. They have to find some other candidates that can win the election.
She's been rejected twice now by the electorate, and I just think that if she runs again, there's not much of a chance. I think it would be a waste if she ran again.
The third time's not going to be a charm for her. She's been rejected.
Even though she's a female, you know, you can't run because you're female or black or whatever. She's old. She's old news, I should say, not old.
She gave us Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
She was the only person that could lose to Donald Trump. I mean, that Donald Trump.
You guys agree with that?
Yes.
No, I don't either.
I think anybody would have lost to Donald Trump because of
He said what a lot of people wanted to hear, unfortunately.
Well, joining me now is the man you just saw lead that discussion, pollster Frank Luntz. So, Frank, you're a professional pollster. What would you advise Hillary after hearing those answers?
To write another book, go do more speeches, but she'll be embarrassed if she does it. And if I was close to her as Mark Penn, who's coming on the show, I would simply tell her, no, you had a shot. You had a good shot, but the time has passed.
You know, I like the one woman, see, I was in school in New Hampshire for a while. I love the one woman who says, third time's not a charm. She has the New Hampshire accent. And the other one says, well, she gave us Donald Trump. I think where they might get it wrong is where they say she's the only person who could have lost to Trump. And then the wisdom at the end, the woman said, no, I think, you know, he was saying what people wanted to hear. And she said, unfortunately. But it's interesting to hear that group of people. Was there anyone else that did?
Yes, to my surprise. They complained that she was old, and they didn't really mean her age, but they did a little bit. What they really want is someone who they think who can beat Trump, and they picked Joe Biden.
All right, so they didn't like Hillary, so who did they like? In part two, we do get some of the folks and what they say and who might have the right stuff to take on President Trump, as Frank just said, so let's watch.
If the Democrats don't come up with somebody that non-politician.
Who?
Somebody.
Hillary's oatmeal, and the Democratic Party, it may be good for you and it may say all the right things, but the Democratic Party needs somebody with some charisma and some pizzazz, like the gentleman from Texas,
Beto O'Rourke.
Beto O'Rourke.
You think he's good?
I think he seems to be able to maybe ignite the party again, which was something that President Obama could do.
Bloomberg.
Why Bloomberg?
Well, he was mayor.
Huh?
Well, I think he could take on Trump. He has talked about becoming a Democrat now. I think he's actually represented all parties. He knows that, you know, he's got to go to the Democratic side if he really seriously wants to run. His business background, he's very outspoken.
Joe Biden with run for president with a young vice presidential candidate that can go hand in hand with him.
Oh, wait a second. Joe Biden. The other one was saying Hillary was old. Isn't Joe older than Hillary, or it's because he rides Amtrak that makes him more of an interesting candidate?
Well, I'm told that Amtrak created the quiet car because of Joe Biden.
Oh, my goodness.
It's interesting that they're naming people who've been around for a while, but they reject Hillary Clinton. And a lot of those people there, because they're independents and they can vote in the Democratic primary, half of them don't want someone who can beat Donald Trump. Half of them still want Trump as their president. So the battle in New Hampshire isn't just on the left and on the right. If you capture the center, it's 20%. It's additional votes that you can't get in other state primaries.
Well, to me, the hilarious thing is when people are saying, well, that guy in Texas, he has charisma, you know, that guy. Like, well, Beto. But it's like the name. I think Beto, O'Rourke, Barack Obama, same this, but, you know, the names are the same. And charisma, people looking for charisma because they know Trump had it.
And they're supposed to, but these are supposed to be the most educated voters. They're supposed to be the most informed. And what is clear that they're now choosing people not based on policy, but based on personality. And that's changed.
And Trump's personality, contrary to the Jim Acostas of the world, people like that kind of rough and tumble thing. You know, he was our bully, a lot of people thought, right?
But that's the point. It has to be for them. If it's just for Donald Trump, he'll fall short. But if he's fighting for me, if he's fighting for us, then he'll be successful.
So if you could advise Trump tonight, keep the focus on America away from your personal squabbles.
And I'd also be saying I'm your voice. Not only do I hear you, not only am I listening, I'm your voice in Washington.
The forgotten people, that line from his inaugural and from the convention speech, that really drove it home. Frank, love this. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.